Hey, good morning. Hope you're having a good morning so far, that you're filled with more hope today than maybe yesterday. Hope that you had a good night, got some rest, some sleep. I hope that you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing to keep yourself healthy. And I also hope that if you're struggling in some way, that you would reach out to the people around you and let them know so that people can do what they can to help you. Yesterday I talked about Moses and how there are 5 choices that he made. I'm going to unpack each choice every single day. And yesterday I talked about how Moses he made the choice to not get wrapped up in the negativity, but to actually have hope and to trust in God. That he chose to focus on what God did in the past, what God currently was doing in his situation, and he hoped that God would do that and much greater things in the future. And so today I want to talk about how Moses, he refused to take a shortcut despite what everybody else was saying around him, and he refused to do so in order just to keep people happy. The Israelites, they were in a tough situation. They had been released from slavery, and now they were on their way to the Promised Land to experience what God had promised them. But they're at the Red Sea, and there's no real way to get across. And the soldiers are coming from Egypt. Pharaoh's soldiers are on their way to attack them. And so the Israelites are complaining, they're upset, they're like, hey, we had a better life back there, at least we had food and we had water and shelter. Yeah, we weren't treated the best, but man, we had some stuff back there. And so they wanted to go back and go back to Egypt and actually considered being slaves all over again. And so I just think about if I was Moses and I was in charge of those people, I would just be like, you know what? Pack your stuff up, let's go, because you're driving me crazy. We're going to go back and you're going to get what you want. But that's not what Moses did. And I think the lesson that is in this for us is that in order for us to be healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, we need to do sometimes the hard thing, right? And that's what Moses chose to do. He said, nope, I know this situation seems horrible. I know this situation seems crazy, that there are things that doesn't make sense, but God made a promise, and we are going to fulfill what we can do in order to allow God to fulfill the promise. He does what is best despite what all these people said, and people were negative, people were complaining, people were questioning if he even knew what God had said. But yet, here's the thing, that he had a mission from God. He had a vision from God, and he was trying to do everything he could to live in such a way that that vision would become a reality. Do you have a vision for your life? Do you know what God has called you to do? Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what steps you need to take so that can become a reality? Even though every single one of us are separate right now and we're not able to, have interaction with people the way that we're supposed to, I think there are still things you can do in your life in order to live out that vision. What does that look like for you and your family? What does that look like for you if you're following Jesus? What does that look like for you? If you're not following Jesus, what does that look like? I think God has given all of us a vision for our life, whether you're a husband or a wife, whether you're a father or a mother, whether you are a child of God, whether you are a brother, sister, uncle, aunt, whether you're just a regular person. I think God has given every single one of us a vision for our life. But here's the thing. Are you listening to God? There are 2 things about this. Do you know what the vision is? It can't come from you. It can't come from any other source. It has to be from God. And are you living in such a way that that vision can become reality? Yes, there may be some changes along the way, but the vision never changes as far as the end goal. What does that look like? But the steps you might have to take to get there will change. Maybe your attitude might have to change. The circumstances might be different. Maybe there's some unseen things along the way that you can't prepare for, but the vision actually never changes. See, it takes courage in order to live your life as if you have a vision and you know where you're going and you know what you're supposed to do. And so I think the biggest thing that all of us have to figure out right now is, despite being quarantined and being by ourselves, how do we live this vision out for our life. How do we do this? Right now, for me, the biggest thing for me right now is I'm trying to figure out is I'm called to be the church. I don't go to church. Church is not a worship service. Church is God's people. And so I believe that God's people is a family on mission. And so how do I reach people and be a person on mission? That's the vision for my life right now. And so I had a very clear, a week ago, I had a very clear idea of what that looked like. Today, I'm still trying to figure that out. And so for me, just to give you an idea, it's making phone calls, text messages, sending messages to friends, family, neighbors, people around me to make sure, hey, how you doing? Checking in with them, just seeing where they are, right? Because part of the vision of my life is to actually care for those around me. And the second part is to point people to Jesus. And so what does that look like? Well, guess what? That's why I'm on doing this. I haven't done this in a long time as far as social media stuff, but this is why. Because my vision for my life hasn't changed, but how I accomplish that is changing. And so the thing that you need to figure out is, what is the vision for my life and what does it look like for now, right? And so the big picture of how am I going to live, what kind of person am I going to be, and what am I called to do while I have this time here on earth. So many of us right now are in survival mode, which I totally understand. And some level I am too, and so I'm just telling you that. But the second level of all this is, how am I going to live my life so that the vision for my life is fulfilled? And I don't have the answers for that. Only you can have those answers. I pray that during this time that we're alone, I pray that during this time that things in our life are changed, that you would seek God, allow God to speak to you. One of the ways that you find His vision for your life is to read His Word, to pray, and then the third thing is really hard to do is be silent and allow Him to speak. And I pray that through those things, He would help you understand who you are, and what you're called to do, and how you're going to live that out in this moment and beyond. Have a great day. I hope that your day goes well. If you need anything from me, seriously, send me a message and I will do the best I can to help you. Have a great day.